Have you ever felt like something was watching you from the shadows? What if the whispers in the dark weren't just your imagination? Tonight, I'll tell you about a chilling encounter that will make you question the safety of even the most ordinary places. This is the story of The Man in the Closet. It was 1988 when Shelley and her best friend moved into what seemed like the perfect first apartment. It was clean, modern, and spacious, a far cry from their expectations. But there was one catch. They were the youngest residents in a complex dominated by retirees. Quiet, peaceful, and ideal for focusing on their new lives. At least, that's what they thought. The apartment was everything they needed. 2 bedrooms, a big living room, and closets big enough to stand in, though why anyone would want to do that never crossed their minds. That first day was filled with excitement as they moved in furniture and unpacked their lives. By nightfall, they were exhausted, ready to sleep and begin their new adventure in the morning. But the night had other plans. Shelley had just finished making her bed when she noticed how cold her room had become. Odd, she thought, but nothing worth worrying about. She wrapped herself in a blanket and lay down, the events of the day swirling in her head. Then she heard it, a soft noise coming from her closet. She froze. The faint sound of banging echoed through the walls. Maybe it's just settling noises, she told herself. But as the minutes passed, the noises grew louder. And then, it happened. Shelley saw something she could never unsee. A man. An old man walked through her closed window, as if the solid glass didn't exist, and stepped into her closet. The window shade flew up as he entered, despite the fact that this was the second floor. Shelley lay there, paralyzed with fear. She wanted to scream, but the terror clamped her throat shut. The man didn't open the closet door. He simply disappeared into it. The banging noises intensified, and Shelley did the only thing she could. She pulled the blanket over her head, her eyes peeking out, and stayed perfectly still. Because we all know as long as you're under a blanket, nothing can hurt you. Right? Across the hall, her roommate was also hearing the noises. Thinking Shelley was reorganizing her closet, she knocked on the door to offer help. When no answer came, she knocked again, harder this time. A faint, terrified whisper came from inside. "There's a man in my closet." At first, her roommate thought Shelley was joking, but the fear in her voice said otherwise. She opened the door to find the room ice cold. Shelley, wrapped tightly in her blanket, had tears streaming down her face. Together they bolted out of the room, screaming, and spent the rest of the night huddled on the living room floor. The man in the closet didn't stop there. He returned several times throughout the year they lived in that apartment, always at night, and always when it was just the two of them, home alone. The banging noises became an eerie signal that he was near, and the cold air that accompanied him was like a calling card. But what made it worse? He never appeared when others were around. Friends and visitors dismissed their experiences as paranoia, leaving Shelley and her roommate to face the terror alone. Shelley, tough as nails, eventually returned to her room, determined to live her life. But her roommate couldn't bear the thought of even walking past that door in the dark. Nights were filled with whispered fears, rushed trips to the bathroom, and lights that stayed on far longer than they should have. To this day, Shelley and her roommate don't know who or what the man in the closet was. Was he a former resident, a spirit tied to the building, or something else entirely? No one knows, and they never found out. But one thing is certain. They were never truly alone in that apartment. So, the next time you hear a noise in your closet late at night, think of Shelley and her story. Because sometimes the things we fear most are already inside. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends who love a good scare. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had a brush with the supernatural?